Today on the Stay Ready podcast, we sit down with Chief Ron Camacho, 30 years in law enforcement, 17 in leadership. He retired as a patrol operations captain in York City, Pennsylvania, commanding over 90 officers and detectives. Then he took it global, advising police in Afghanistan and running State Department training operations in Mexico, supervising over 30 American trainers, rebuilding police capability from the ground up. He is a graduate of the FBI National Academy. He holds a doctorate in criminal justice and has been named one of Police Magazine's innovative law enforcement leaders. Today, he is the chief in North Charleston, South Carolina. And in this episode, we discuss the recent national incident on July 4th, use of force training, technology in law enforcement, and what real leadership looks like on the street and in the command staff. Episode 6, Chief Ron Camacho. Enjoy. Thank you for coming on. It was a great call we had the other day. Thank you for your time. Your agency has definitely been going in the right direction, and I'm really someone who's a local Charlestonian. I love seeing that. Especially I have friends that work at the agency. I used to work with some of those guys on the street too, and I just love seeing the progress that you've made over the past. You've been here for 18 months, correct? A little over 18 months?
18, 19 months.
18, 19 months. Yeah, you guys recently had, and again, like we'll get into it, but you guys recently had a national incident, or an incident that made national news, where one of your officers was basically swarmed during the 4th of July. She stayed in the fight, and I think that was awesome. Shows her perseverance and her character there. And then the responding officers absolutely did a phenomenal job of handling that situation. So let's just go and get right into it, Chief. I just kind of want to start out with, I know you're usually used to press conferences and things like that, but I want to talk about how you guys have changed kind of your role in kind of coming into this. Like obviously North Charleston in the past has had some incidents like the Walter Scott incident back in 2015. I was still active law enforcement in that time. And that was a situation that wasn't the best for, let's just say, low country law enforcement, right? Really for the country. Because of course the actions of one, sometimes people think speak for the actions of all. That's not the case there. So I really want to ask your opinion on coming from your background in York, Pennsylvania, York City, to North Charleston, South Carolina. What was that transition like, knowing the history of North Charleston, the crime rates and things like that?
Well, good question, and thank you for having me on.
Of course, yeah.
Awesome. So it's funny, I came from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania,
okay.
But I had to go back to my roots in York, Pennsylvania. So the first 18 years of my policing career was in York, Pennsylvania, which mimicked a lot of what's going on in North Charleston. York, smaller, way smaller, 110 man police department, but violent, especially when I was there. 1995 is when I started my policing career, middle of the crack wars. And that's where I got a lot of my experience. So I had to dip back into that and really start pulling into those experiences to kind of make the transition here and get into that mindset, because where I came from, the crime level was not there. So I had to kind of combine a couple things. Where I came from, we were very much a progressive, forward-leaning, forward-thinking police department that was heavy on customer service, super professional, heavy on education, and we were the leaders in South Central Pennsylvania on many, many fronts. So coming here, I sat, kind of observed some things, and quickly found out that the officers really good at solving crime. I was amazed at all levels how good they were at solving crime. But we had a problem. We had a discipline problem, internal discipline problem, and I started working on that. And they responded. We had some bumps, but they responded because they also saw that I had another philosophy, and that was taking care of them and developing them. And I brought some tools with me to see that they were developed and taken care of, and really look out for them. So my philosophy, you work hard for me, and I'm going to work hard for you. I'm going to see that you progress in your department. I'm going to see that you get the equipment that you need. You get whatever you need to do your job. And additionally, whatever knowledge I have to make you better, we're going to do that. I opened up a lot of schools, whatever training they were doing, I injected steroids into that, and especially leadership training, super important. We started doing a lot of our internal leadership training, started opening up a lot more, started developing our middle managers, getting them to Northwestern, getting them to start thinking about that next level. And they've responded tremendously. So I'm very proud to be the chief here. It's rewarding. It's tough. And then going back to the Walter Scott, I've never dealt with anything like that. In York, we had a controversial shooting that occurred in the 1960s. So one of our officers was shot in the line of duty. It was 1969, August 2nd, my birthday actually. An officer called Henry Shadd. And there was also a black female that was shot, Lily Bell Allen. And those murders went unsolved for 30 years. And they convened a special grand jury, and they wound up making arrest. And one of the people indicted was the sitting mayor at the time. And that made national news. Oh, wow. Yeah, and they wound up making arrest on both sides and giving a little bit of closure to that. But nothing to the effect of the Walter Scott incident here. And imagine coming in as a chief and meeting the family and working with the family. And right now I have Denise Scott's phone number here. I talked to her late last week. So I'm in contact with that family, and they're an integral part of our department. And I think that's important, getting our officers to, they talk to our rookies, to kind of never forget that and always have that kind of integrity mindset that this cost this community, the Low Country, as you say, sure, a lot. So make sure that you're doing the right thing at all times. And we are an integrity-based organization, and I've fired quite a few people for lying. And we don't sweep things under the rug, and they understand that. So while there's a lot more work to do, we're on the right path, and I'm proud of what we're doing. I'm proud of all the successes we have, but there's still a lot more work to do.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I remember that incident pretty clearly. You guys can look it up. It definitely was a dark cloud over Charleston at that time. I will say this though, I've always been very proud of how Charleston has reacted to situations such as that. Not very many crazy riots kind of going on. The community's always been calm and respectful. And the fact of the matter is, yes, you can be angry at things like this for sure. But I think that that's the one thing that Charleston's done a very good job of is even with the Emmanuel shooting downtown Charleston, whom I had a high school friend who was killed in that shooting.
Oh, wow.
And I also responded to that call as well. And that was also a dark time in this. Even though it wasn't law enforcement related, it was still a dark time in Charleston. But very proud of the city that I come from and how we responded to that as a community. And I think that's a testament to the people as well, just like you said. I think it's important that you guys are also including the community and the accountability, like you said. Like, you have fired people for lying. That's amazing, right? It's if you do the right thing, you'll have the success that you guys want, right? And so I think I've seen just in the past year or so, speaking with your sergeant and your lieutenants, the progress you guys have made from the training side in particular, because I personally think that a lot of poor decision making on the street comes from lack of training, lack of exposure in the training room. And that really does start with leadership. Like, leadership has to recognize there's a problem objectively. We just said the word objectively right before the camera started rolling. I love that word, one of my favorite words. I actually got made fun of for using it too much. But it's a phenomenal word. And again, you coming into a relatively high crime area, many would say in the country, right? I think you guys are 27% above the national average from the last data I saw. But the fact that I just saw your crime report stats and they are going down, which is, again, a testament to you and your officers. I think too, the July 4th incident, like, obviously that made national news. I mean, you couldn't get on social media or the news without seeing that situation.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about what was your initial take when I guess when it probably came across your phone or it came across the radio.
Well, I can tell you. So, crazy night. So I was on the boat, and I was on the boat with my wife, and we were there in the Cooper, and I have this beautiful video of the fireworks going off. We were right across from Riverfront Park, and so here I am, with my boat guys. I never had a harbor unit, and every now and then I'm on the boat with the harbor unit. They love it, thank God.
Yeah, of course.
And it's
great guys, by the way.
Yeah, it's relaxing for me. Sometimes I have a little tough time relaxing, and
wonder why, Chief.
Yeah, getting on the Cooper and Ashley and going in the harbor, it is relaxing for me, and I have a good time, and I just love that. I guess that's one of the advantages of being the chief here is I can go on the boat every now and then.
Yeah.
So I was on the boat with my wife and my harbor guys, and we were working, right? I had my gun, I had my magazines, and I was dressed working because we were there to make sure that people weren't getting close to the barges.
Sure.
When the fireworks were going off, I took this beautiful video that I posted on social media that got like close to 900,000 views. I've never seen anything like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'll show it to you when we're done.
Please.
Yeah. So right when that was going on, my work phone started beeping, and I got a message, and it was kind of cryptic from one of my deputy chiefs. And I tried to decipher it. I saw civil disturbance, and I quite didn't understand what he was saying. You could tell it was a little frantic. So I asked Wallace, my main boat guy, hey, change the radio. Let's see what's going on.
Thomas?
Yeah. And, merman, right?
So,
yeah. So he puts it on, and I can hear some of the stuff that's going on. You can hear it's chaotic. So I'm listening, right? I'm not going to get on the radio, start asking. I'm giving it some time so I can hear a break so that I can ask for an update. Because I really couldn't hear with the fireworks and stuff. So I'm just trying to get a sense of what's going on. When there was a little bit of a lull, I asked for an update. Again, didn't get super clear what was going on, some sort of civil disturbance. Eventually I got on the phone and a little clearer of what was going on and where the incident was going on. So asked the deputy chief to pick me up once the fireworks were done, so that I could be taken to the area or to the South Bureau so that I can see what was happening. By the time I got there, they had left that area. Some of the officers had left. The main officers that were involved in this had left the area, but there was still some stuff going on. Like on my drive there, I can hear there was a young child that was hit in the face with a firework. My people were out with somebody with a gun in that area. I drove right by where some of that stuff was going on. So it's funny, my wife, she got to see boat chief and then incident chief, her eyes were really big that day. So I get to the South Bureau, and I'm happy that I got to see the officers. I got to see the officers that were injured and involved in this. And I got to ask them how they were doing. And I don't want to name their names. We haven't released their names, and I want to protect that.
Sure.
But I got to see them and say, how are you? How are you doing? Are you all right? And they told me they were. I got to have conversations with the sergeant, conversations with the young officers, conversation with the other one. And I got a sense of what went on. The captain who was there briefed me, and I got a sense of what happened. The ambulance was there, the EMS, they said, hey, nobody wants to go, we're leaving, and knew it was kind of hectic. They were still trying to figure out what was going on, but I had enough information to be able to brief the mayor and felt like, okay, they've got command of this, we're good, and that I know more stuff will come out later, but they made arrest. this is good. It's stabilized. More to come later.
Right.
So when I got home, I got a picture of what was already put on, like a screenshot of what was already on social media. So I said, okay, here we go. And this isn't my first time with something going viral.
Sure.
It's happened before, but nowhere near to this extent.
Sure.
And so the next day I got up early, and like the phone didn't stop from about 6:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, till literally maybe 2 o'clock. It was just phone calls, getting updates, checking on my people, seeing what was going on, getting more information, because this did take off. Checking on my people again, making sure that they were good. And they were good. They came back to work the next day. Eventually, I had a three-way conference with the mayor and my boss to say, hey, I know you put out a statement, and part of the morning was crafting a statement,
sure,
to put out as quickly as we could to kind of get on top of this. But then it was advised, hey, you're going to have to go out and get on camera. So had to go up, shave, and come in, and that's my job.
Right.
So 4:30 on Sunday, I was in front of the cameras and the newspaper and just spoke from the heart about what happened, as much information I have, and still stuff was kind of a little sketchy.
Sure.
I saw some comments, and I try not to read the comments, but I saw some comments, hey, Chief didn't know the arrest, the details of the arrest. He didn't know this. At 3:15, I was home in shorts, unshaved. By 4:30, I was in, sure, shaved, in uniform, ready to talk.
Right.
And where I think we went right in this was calming the temperature and not placing blame with that community. One of the things that was super important and a big change from where I came from, I had to build relationships with the community.
Sure.
But I'm from there. I was from South Central Pennsylvania, different relationships with the community. So it was easy for me to do that, more of a pro-police attitude. Here, I had to work very hard at building this relationship and have worked tremendously hard. And there were times where I took steps back. So one of those incidents that went viral, one of my officers came in dealing with a juvenile and was totally wrong, came in, did not de-escalate a situation, and put his hands on the kid. The kid went nuts, and this was all on camera. And he was wrong. My officer was totally wrong, and I had to take accountability for that. And I got beat up over that. Then we had another incident where my officer wasn't wrong, but we all agreed that older officers might have used a different tactic. He was within policy. I backed him, but older officers might have done something differently.
Sure.
And he went back to training, and the training people talked to him. Quick was one of the guys who went and talked to him. Yeah, excellent. So, and I had town hall meetings. I'm the new guy. And I remember having one town hall meeting, hour and 45 minutes, getting bombs lobbed at me, about the department and what I was doing to the department. So in that time frame, I've worked incredibly hard, like you said, pushing and getting rid of some of the bad apples and holding our people to a standard and building those relationships with the community and just continually building that relationship with the community and taking care of business and then building those relationships. And I did not want to lose that momentum with the relationships. And I could have easily done that by, and I love them. I love the sheriffs from Florida, but I'm not a sheriff from Florida.
Sure.
And if I would have come off like a sheriff from Florida, it would not have been a good thing.
Yeah.
And every community is different. They have power that I don't have. Their communities are different than
Very
here.
true.
Right. Maybe they didn't have something that happened here, Walter Scott. And I am not that. And it worked. And my little press conference, that went viral. And I knew we were in for it Monday morning when my face was on the New York Post.
Yeah.
So, and this incident, because of how ugly it was, and it was ugly, her getting assaulted like that was really friggin' nasty. And I'm incredibly proud of her. And that's one of the reasons I called you, because, you know, back in my day, and even across the country during that same weekend, you know, I saw incidents where officers were dealing with people where when they had the opportunity, you know, they're throwing in an extra couple of shots. She didn't do that, right? She did what she was trained to do. She got up and she immediately started cuffing. Incredibly proud of her. And the community is proud of her. The community is incredibly proud of her restraint, of her professionalism. What she did and how she was trained pushed our relationship with this community ahead 5-10 years. And you know,
Great.
with what happened with Walter Scott, we needed that.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
and nobody wanted to see her assaulted, and that's disgusting and should never happen. And we're working hard, you know, and I've asked that community for help because we have to get this juvenile situation taken care of. I mean, and I asked them for help because this is not just a police problem, and I can't do that alone, you know.
100% correct.
Right. And, you know, I need their help. And that was misconstrued by some, you know, community
I could see
activists,
that. Yeah,
some
I could
community
see that.
leaders, you know, they took that and, you know, they had their own agendas and they twisted it. But I was very sincere. I need your help. The police cannot do this alone. From those the first two incidents where we dealt with the juveniles, we have upped our training with EFC. We have upped our discipline, our internal discipline, changing our culture. We have gone to schools and taught classes on how to taught high schoolers and middle schoolers how to interact with the police, what your rights are on a traffic stop, what your rights are in a detention. You know, don't adjudicate the case there.
Sure. Right.
You know, hey, these are your rights. If your rights get violated, I want to hear about it.
Sure.
You know, how to file a complaint. We taught that. And even I had one prominent community leader, famous prominent community leader, where we had another incident where my guy was in policy, but it didn't look right. And he did some things where he probably shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Okay.
And his actions, we looked at the body cam and he was in policy, but he did it in the church parking lot and we saw their video. And it just, when we started deconstructing this, it didn't look good, right? But then we started looking at it deeper and it's like, why were you there to begin with? Why did you're detaining these kids. Why did you move from them to this? You're surrounded. There's like 9 kids here. Why you stop these kids with no problem? Why are you going to move to these other kids? There were some things that didn't add up. The report didn't read like what we saw on the camera.
Sure.
So they brought me in the church and my assistant chief, and we had a 2-hour conversation about this. And there were things we didn't agree about. It wasn't racial. I don't think the officer did that to make a point, which was one of their contentions. I also didn't agree with some of the officer's actions. And I told them, hey, we'll take this back. And I met with my training guys and I met with my IA. And we started looking at what's going on with the juveniles and what's the common denominator where we're getting into some issues here. And it had to do with the kids selling roses and kids selling candy, you know. And what we found out is a lot of these issues are when our younger officers, and we're a super young department.
You are. Yep.
Since I've been there, I've hired 26 people, and I've got another 12 to hire. When they're coming in hot and heavy to a call with somebody selling a rose or selling candy, and the business owners have had enough of those, they're calling because they're harassing people coming in and out of the stores. But then you have a young officer, a little inexperienced, dealing with a young juvenile. And we were seeing high temperature.
Yeah.
And so I changed policy. And I said, you know what, on those particular cases, because we can't eliminate young officers dealing with juveniles all over the city. But for those particular cases, which seems to be are the cases where we're seeing the most issues, corporal, sergeant, or a lieutenant will respond to those. No issue, since we changed policy. And we changed policy back in April.
If you care about being capable physically, mentally, then this is for you. A lot of people don't actually need more motivation, they need structure. That's why we built Effective Fitness Training. It's a structured strength conditioning program, not random workouts, not trend-based programming, not chasing aesthetics. It's progressive training built around strength, durability, conditioning, and longevity. Every phase has intent. Every lift has a purpose. We focus on building real-world capacity, the kind that carries over into your job, your life, into the stuff that actually matters. You get clear programming with built-in progression and conditioning that supports strength instead of interfering with it. Mobility so that you stay durable, recovery guidance, and coaching so you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's simple, it's structured, and it works if you work. If you want one program that covers everything, strength, speed, endurance, bodybuilding, mobility, recovery, nutrition guidance, and coaching, go to effective.fitness/stay ready. We'll take care of the programming, you show up and train. Yeah, I think a lot of that too I became a law enforcement officer at 23 years old. How much life experience has a 23-year-old had? So now you have a 23-year-old dealing with a potential juvenile and or just 18, 19 years old who also has no life experience. So now it's a battle of no life experience, which might lead to some escalation, especially if they have no experience in law enforcement.
Yeah.
There's social skills, and I'm sure you're seeing it too, like these younger officers.
Yeah.
Social skills, social interaction, emotional intelligence might be a little bit lower.
Right.
Probably due to technology and cell phones and texting and lack of eye contact or conversations.
Right.
So I think, again, understanding the rose and the candy thing as well, growing up here.
Yeah.
It is, again, I know some store owners in certain areas don't like, because obviously they sometimes can pester the customers and the customers don't like it. And it pushes people away from the store.
Right.
So I can understand why the calls come through, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of pretty obvious from my perspective. I do think, again, I think your approach there with your officers is coming from a place of you're trying to understand the community's needs, but also not prevent the officers from doing their job and protecting the community from whatever call may come through, right? It could just be a simple trespass call, could be something with narcotics or firearms, whatever the case may be. Those calls vary, right? Yeah. So, one of my best friends used to work for you guys, and I know he was a very proactive officer, very solid, trained really hard, really got after it, and in my opinion was an asset to the community and to other officers, like trying to encourage them to train as well. And I think that's one thing I really like about your department is you have a lot of go-getters that are super proactive. You also have guys and girls out there that are trying to push others to be better, showing them their personal weaknesses, self-assessing, whether it's not only just like the use of force stuff, but also like the leadership skills and how you talk to people and how you communicate and understanding situations and certain tactics, which I definitely want to kind of level set here on some definitions. So it's like the community might say like something like police violence versus use of force.
Yeah.
You probably have had to have those conversations of use of force is exactly what it is. It's a use of force. And sometimes, like you said, it may not look pretty on camera because force is rarely
looks pretty,
right?
Yeah.
And so our goal is to obviously try to mitigate escalation of force and try to control the situation and end the threat or stop the threat or administer objectively reasonable control for that situation. In your experience, how has that been approaching the community with how you guys are currently starting to train now with, let's just say more effective use of force curriculum versus what it was, and even, from your past experience?
Well, it's funny. Before this incident, because let me go back.
Please, yeah.
What I did, I also believe in healing, right? And wanting to move forward. I'm tired of us. We're doing a lot of great things here in this department. I was supposed to do that press conference on our great numbers and on all the great things that we're doing crime-wise. That was supposed to be right after the 4th of July.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, that was pre-planned.
Right.
And of course, I couldn't do that because that would look stupid. So I had to wait. But those numbers ended in June. So we already had those numbers and we were ready to rock and roll and push those numbers out, but I couldn't do that. So I'm tired of this department always walking around with a black eye. The guy who filmed this and put this out on social media, he wasn't from North Charleston. He wasn't from Charleston. He was from a small town north of us. And
go home.
Yeah, I mean, and I told him at one of these community meetings, I said, hey, this church gave me the opportunity to solve this problem. I wish you would have done the same thing, because now look at what has occurred. We're on national news, and that's not cool. And he was walking around with glee, which was not cool.
Of course, because he has a viral video that's getting a lot of likes and shares.
But in that meeting, he wasn't. He was contrite, and he even apologized for this. But who knows how truthful that was?
Sure.
So again, I was asked to be on Fox and Newsmax. What would that have done? Nothing. So now it was about us trying to solve this problem and get to this problem. So going back to what I did, I invited probably about 25 of our main leaders in North Charleston and had them look at body cam. And
good for you.
When they looked at the body cam, the attitude changed. And a lot of, hey, we really appreciate the restraint your officers used. Where maybe before that, their point of view towards use of force might have been a little unrealistic. So now, because of this, it was a little more, hey, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt because of what happened. And it was funny because one of the leaders in there said, you're painting a picture. And yes, I'm painting a picture. I'm trying to show you the chaos that our officers, that our 10 to 12 officers went through. Yes, you need to feel what they were feeling when they were there. That's important, okay? I'm not trying to slant this. I'm trying to put you in their shoes. Have a little empathy when you're looking at this. And what I realized after that meeting, and I knew it deep down inside because I'm a logical, objective person.
It's a great word.
Is that, and it hit me like a cold bucket of water. I'm never, ever going to change some people's minds to get them all the way to see something. And then I did some introspection, right? I believe in that. I teach that, and I believe in this greatly. And if somebody has been waving the flag and fighting for civil rights at the highest levels, for many years, and they're in their late 60s, 70s, I can only get them to align.
I 100% understand you're only going to change certain people's minds.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, sometimes I'm talking about from my perspective. It's not necessarily my job to do that. It might be your job. It's not my job to do that. My job is to show objective, positive, successful change. and then it makes it impossible or very, very, very difficult for them to argue with that, especially when you're presenting it as data and facts or body cam footage or cell phone footage, CCTV, whatever you want to call it. The fact that you shared that body cam footage with the community, I think is phenomenal. I think from my perspective, when I first saw the video, because my phone blew up, right? My phone, I mean, not as much as yours, but it definitely blew up with guys that work for you, guys that don't work for you, surrounding agencies, people in different parts of the country and the world actually sending it to me. And I'm like, yep, that's literally 25 minutes from my house. And I definitely think that, you talk about the restraint. Again, we could talk about definitions. I see it as also they had options.
Right.
So they were able to understand the situation a little more clearly and then recognize, okay, I have options here. I have to maintain my mobility. Okay, it's kind of a surrounding thing. Let me see if I can go shin on top on this individual here, create space, make sure she's okay. She stayed in the fight. She went low anchor. After she got pretty ragdolled, right?
Yeah.
And she stayed in the fight. She went low anchor. They had the guy in cuffs within a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Then you had that younger officer we discussed. He came in, phenomenal work, right? I had been working with him even before he went to the academy, and so kudos to him. He absolutely did phenomenal work. And then some of the other guys, I definitely recognize, SWAT guys, all that stuff. They did a phenomenal job. Obviously, there's always things we can learn from this.
Right.
There's always things we can learn from this. Learning when, picking your battles, knowing your capabilities.
Right.
And that, in my opinion, comes from training, understanding what you can and cannot do or when you should and should not do it, how to read a situation. 4th of July block parties, they are what they are, right? You're in a crowd type situation when the crowd gets unruly. It becomes very dangerous. The environment's very unknown. So the fact that, just like you said, you try to put the community in their shoes, very difficult to do when you're watching a screen and you can watch it on slow motion and multiple angles. In the comfort of the AC in Charleston right now. I think that's a phenomenal way to look at it. And I know you guys have recently also done like open community days where you'll bring the community in. You actually do use of force training. You do some simunition training or something along those lines. You talk about narcotics. You talk about investigative detention, all these things. I've seen that on Facebook. So that's really good. You guys are opening the community even to like the use of force training you guys are doing.
So I can talk about that first, and then
please.
I can go back. So part of when I was doing these open houses, and I was having some of these community leaders, activists, attacking our tactics and really not understanding our tactics. Like you're talking about stuff you don't know. And I'm a huge, listen, I can't build nothing. I'm allergic to screwdrivers, hammers. It's embarrassing how bad I am at building stuff, man. I really don't have any skills except for running police departments, right? I would never tell a plumber, hey, you missed that. I would never tell an electrician, you forgot to turn that off, or a wood maker. But people love telling me
how to do
my job and how to, telling me about police tactics. And I'm a trainer, I'm a former SWAT guy. I've done international work. I've trained SWAT teams internationally. But you have to have some patience and humility, especially at my level.
Of course.
And just kind of, roll with the punches. So one of my things that I came up with, I didn't come up with it, the team came up with it. Let's do an open house. We have this beautiful training center. You're well aware with it.
Yeah.
It's a crown, or a jewel in our crown. Let's open it to the public. Let's have people come see this and put them through our simulator. You want to talk about, hey, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't pull out the gun here. I wouldn't do this. We're going to put you in a similar situation with a little to no stress and see what you will do. Well, some of those community activists would be in jail. Some of them again, right? But some of them for the first time for smoking people that were doing karate moves unarmed. But we won over people, which is what we needed to do. We put them in our shoes. We had them seeing through our eyes. And that was our intention. Come see what we do. Be around us. We're not evil. We want to help people. And we're pretty well trained. You know, on one of those, I had one of our well-trained guys. You know, we showed a body cam video of this guy and him going through transitions. I'll tell you his name afterwards,
sure.
Right? So he went in, gun, taser, empty hand, and there was a reason why he did all that, and went on top of the guy and then got control.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. You probably seen the body cam.
I have.
And then he was in the back, and he was doing, he was showing the techniques. And one of the guys, the guy was like 6'2", 6'3", probably about 300 pounds. And he was a guy that was, you know, before critical. And he saw the video, and then he saw him, and he was like, that little guy? He was doing that? And we're like, do you want to go? And he said, no. And he became a supporter. And during this July 4th incident, he was supporting us immediately, because he had this prior education of what we were doing. That's why it's so important for the citizen police academies. They do that. We do the Citizen Police Academy. Sure. We're running one now that's totally in Spanish. Totally in Spanish. And we have the ability to do that. But that open house is strictly for that use of force training, putting them in with our Virtua system, seeing that the hand-to-hand stuff. We even do the overdose naloxone stuff in there, and traffic stops. So we hit them with all that stuff, and it's work. It works. We get people on our side. We let them see what we do, lower those walls, those barriers, and hearts and minds, right? Just one person at a time, getting them onto our thing. So going back to showing the body cam to the leaders, in that room, I did not have to defend the department. Other leaders were defending the leaders.
That's and what
the one consensus that came, there was three main consensuses that came out of that. But the main one is that everybody agreed that was egregious what happened to the officers, and that the officers acted incredibly professional, and that they agreed that our training and discipline have improved, and they like the direction the department's going. And again, I want to keep it going that way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I actually remember, I know an incident you're talking about specifically, and what a phenomenal job that officer did.
Yeah.
Again, really good friend of mine. And even to the open house, I remember seeing an individual who attended the open house with my friend who's very highly trained, very competent in multiple disciplines within the law enforcement profession, tactics, firearms, defensive tactics. And he reshared something on Facebook that he sent me, and it was like, I met this officer and he was very professional, and he showed me. And just that little bit, just that little bit of experience of putting, having a different perspective, you being the officer for once, just having that, even if it's 30 minutes, is completely eye-opening to some people. And they don't recognize all that has to be taken into consideration at a quarter of a second, sometimes faster. Because just like we talk about all the time, a hands-on situation can become a weapons problem, and a weapons problem can become a hands-on situation in a quarter of a second in an unknown environment.
Yeah.
What a responsibility. And there's rules, right? Yeah. And so I think the fact that you are showing individuals this, just like you said, the best way to do it is just to objectively show them what it is like. And just said most of the time, they're not going to respond correctly because they're untrained, they don't understand. But just a little bit of stress goes a long way in a positive note in that environment that you're putting these individuals in, these community leaders in, I think is a phenomenal way to keep expanding that. So do you guys plan on doing this like once a quarter? Like what's the...
Well, we did it twice. So
Sure.
The first time we did it, one of the people that went there, just out of the blue, he has become As a matter of fact, I'm going to have him. He was become a leader that I now know.
Sure.
He was at that community leaders meeting. I invited him, and he wants to have another meeting with me. But he is big with the black fraternities.
Okay.
And he brought them to kind of see, and they came in, and it was basically for them, and to see. So they came in and had it like for them, because they do a lot of work in the communities, and they want to kind of start like getting hot and heavy into that mentorship type stuff.
I think the mentorship space within the community is going to be huge, because again, just like you said, it's not always a police problem.
No.
I think July 4th was a kind of a telling sign of it needs to, like, the cops are doing a great job with their use of force and super effective, and just how quick they were able to detain individuals and disperse the crowd was, I think a phenomenal job. Now, when you start getting these incidences and like you're trying to expand the training side of things, are you taking this to city council? Are you taking this to the mayor? Are you trying to show them?
No. I will tell you, it's different every place you go.
Sure.
So I was spoiled in Chambersburg.
Okay.
So smaller department, way smaller, right? 40 people total with my civilian staff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I 10x'd, right?
Yeah, you did.
But the way that the budget worked is my training line item was huge. So I got spoiled, and I trained those guys, and they got top of the line training, and we were not shy with training people. And that's why that department was so Gucci, maybe. you know?
I hear you. Yeah.
So I'll give you an example.
Did you say Gucci, Chief?
Yeah, I just said Gucci, and they'd probably kill me if they see this.
Clip that.
Yeah. So, and I'm incredibly proud of the work we did there. When I first got there, maybe 25% of the officers had bachelor's degrees.
Okay.
By the time I left, it was up to 65, 70%.
That's beautiful.
Okay. Maybe 5% when I got there had masters. By the time I left, 25% had masters.
Even better.
I was the only one to doctorate. I was the only dumb one to go get my doctorate. Okay. But education, we pushed education. One time, I think 10 of us were going to Liberty University for degrees, and Liberty University came down. They did an article on us, and we all got Liberty University hats. So it was that development piece. I'm proud to say 3 people under my command, well, that might be loose, but 3 people from that department have Northwestern and the National Academy under their belt.
That's awesome.
That is,
and the agency pays for this.
Yeah, well, the agency paid for Northwestern, and then the National Academy is free.
Correct.
That is incredibly rare to be double dipping in command school at that level.
Sure.
3 from a department that size. So that just shows you, the mentality there. And so that was my mentality. Plus, I was a trainer. I love training. I don't do tactical stuff anymore. It's passed me by.
Sure.
Too fat. Anyway,
We can change that, Chief, for you.
Yeah. I'm now teaching leadership stuff, right?
Yeah.
Management leadership. And I delve heavily into ego type stuff, which I taught the whole department, ego classes. So I came here and I saw that ever since Walter Scott, the department has invested heavily into training, and I just pushed more. And I have nothing, I request those budget, the line item expansions in the budget,
sure.
And I don't get any pushback from the council. The council has been very supportive of me, and the mayor has also been supportive of me. So I don't have those issues.
That's huge. Now, Are you seeing? Now let's talk about your officers. Are you seeing better officer morale, better retention of your officers from a training standpoint? Because I know you guys are putting out a lot more body cam footage, dash cam footage, like on social media, and I think it's great. I think your social media is doing a phenomenal job because it's showing the work. Like, it's showing the work you guys do. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. Like, you guys are doing, in my opinion, the Lord's work, right? This is one of the Lord's professions.
Yeah.
And I feel as if that officer morale has seemed to improve. Just from the guys that I talk to, the boots on the ground, those are the guys I mostly deal with when I come and train with you guys, the boots on the ground. I've had countless stories of, hey, this technique worked, this approach worked, hey man, this situation happened, look at what I did here, look at this is what happened, what do you think I should have done differently here? They're actually trying to problem solve their own body cam footage, which I think it's not just like, oh, okay, it worked, great, we don't have to train anymore. It's, hey, this is what happened, yeah, it worked out this time, but what if something else happens? Are you seeing a change with the higher level training you guys are pushing?
Yeah, so a couple things. My background, in my first department, I was a jerk. I'm going to curse. I'm going to jerk off of a leader.
Yeah.
And towards the end of my career, I went to therapy, changed my life, and that's where I started my journey on self-awareness, introspection, ego. And unfortunately, those people from that department did not get to really witness that. But everybody else since then has gotten to see that and benefit from that. And I'm hard on leaders. And I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes, but I really have pushed my people to get better, and I push my leaders to get better. So some of that is what you're saying, where I don't tolerate bad leadership.
Sure.
At that sergeant level, the lieutenant level, we're going to get on top of that as much as we can at any level, you know. Sure. So some of that you're seeing there, the improved training. I brought a coaching platform here.
Okay.
A company called Performance Protocol. So now every officer has access to a coach. Let's say you have issues with time management. You can go find a coach on there that can help you, time management. There's experts there from all over the country that will help you with just about any problem you have.
That's great.
For promotions this year, a lot of people were on that platform and they saw these great jumps in their performances. I saw people go from like bottom to the top from getting these coaches. And I don't know who's using the platform. None of those coaches share anything with me. But it's being used, and it's for their development. It's a performance thing. It's to get better, to get to the next level. It's not EAP. It's, hey, we want to push you and get you to the next level.
Sure.
And so we even use it kind of as a preventive thing. So if we're kind of seeing something, hey, you're a little weak in this area, why don't you go on and get a coach? And again, those coaches are from all over the United States. They're not all cops.
That's great.
There's some psychologists on there, some licensed therapist. So brought that there with them. We just instituted this year mandatory mental wellness checks. So as a matter of fact, tomorrow I go for mine. So again, this philosophy, I want to check. I want to make sure that they're good to go. Just make sure that they're good to go. I care about my officers and want to make sure that they're good to go.
Yeah.
And I think there's a philosophy that I walk around, I'm around them, and open door, they can ask me just about anything. And I think they kind of get that feeling that this guy is fighting for us and my life has been better. As far as the Instagram is concerned, we put officer in there. I'll give her a shout out, Jessie DeMalo.
Love Jessie, by the way. She's awesome.
Yeah, so we recognize that.
Yeah, she's great.
So Jessie does our Instagram, and she's in our recruiting office. Yep. So we don't really...
and she's a beast, too.
Yeah, we don't really recruit. We don't advertise. Our advertisement is that Instagram and word of mouth.
Yeah.
So for me, as a chief, you're always looking for like these metrics on if I'm doing stuff right. When I do my interviews for people, them coming in and saying, hey, I did a ride along and the officer said nothing but great things about the department. They liked the department going. Yeah. And I hear that constantly. Or, hey, I saw what was going on Instagram and I wanted to come in. This is where I want to be. This is the department I want to be at, where other places pay higher. The call volume is less. I'm proud of that. You know, and I think we're doing some interesting things here, and it's exciting.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, I want to make it less exciting. You know,
you want it as boring as humanly possible.
But you know, I think they know that I have their best interests at heart. I want to see them get to the next level, and I will do everything in my power to develop them to the best of my ability. And I think they know that I'm genuine. Yeah. And I've taught a class on ego to keep them out of my office, to have them recognize when ego is popping into their life, and especially their career, so that they can, you know, recognize that and try to stop that beforehand. Gave them techniques on how to, you know, address the ego before it becomes an issue. So
sure. I think that's incredibly important. Is you're taking care of the officer, right? And that was also one of my missions too. Like what we do at EFT and DFC specifically is taking care of the end user, right? Which is the cop, right? Mm. It is the person, not necessarily the cop, right? If you take care of the person and they're squared away physically, mentally, they're capable, you're going to see a much more professional law enforcement officer. I want to get your opinion on something. I want to get your opinion on the infamous checkbox training versus building true capability. Mm-hmm. And I think from my experience, I was a full-time training sergeant, seeing guys coming in service. I'm here, sign the paper, and they leave, or they're here and they don't participate. They don't care. Mm-hmm. What are you guys doing? It just seems you guys are doing. I'll be there Thursday to do an open mat for EFC with you guys. Mm-hmm. It seems that you guys are trying to show the effectiveness of your training to your officers to get more buy-in from them. Mm-hmm. What is one of the biggest issues you guys are having as it pertains to that checkbox training? And like, how are you trying to get away from that to build more competent, capable officers?
I think the key to that is who you put in that training office, right?
100%.
So we don't put bums in our training office. We put people that have energy, that kind of understand my philosophy.
Sure.
So the lieutenant and sergeant that are there and the officers that are there.
Also great guys, by the way.
Right. They understand what I want. They understand my philosophy. And it's important to have that energy and that philosophy. And again, I do, I haven't done it in a while, but part of consulting that I do workplace violence and security assessments at hospitals.
Okay.
And they're notorious for checkbox training. They're behind computers and just doing, like, take a week and they're doing just all this training from behind the computer. And
it does nothing.
It does nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them, you have to, in order to train these security officers better or train your personnel better on situational awareness, you have to get out from behind that screen. You have to run some of these in-person trainings because you're not going to solve this issue. And I saw it firsthand. Sure. I mean, a complacency and just the non-compliance with common sense. So I don't like it. And they understand that. And again, as a trainer, I want to make stuff as exciting as possible. When I'm training, I make it as interactive as possible.
Sure.
I have to give a keynote speech here in a couple of weeks in August. It's 20 minutes, and
that's a long speech.
I'm scared shitless because, I'm used to doing some interactive stuff within them, So, we have to be able to engage the students, get them get them interactive, get them to open up their minds to learn, and that click box training is not going to do it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that the checkbox training is just a liability for the agency. And I think that, and what we're seeing now is that, at least from my perspective, even from surrounding agencies, Dorchester County, shout out to the guys at Dorchester County, Charleston County Sheriff's Office, City of Charleston slowly starting to kind of creep up there as well, just from a local standpoint. The guys you put in training, and I'm just going to harp on this again, is you have to care. You have to care beyond just your job. You have to, we had a guy, I'm not going to name names. I'll say his name is Jeff, works for an agency, works for a sheriff's office. And he told me, hey, we want to go to this level 1 course at EFC here in Charleston. If we can't get it, I'll pay for it out of my own pocket, and I'll pay for my officers. That's who you want in training. Like, you want the guy who's willing to pay us. Now, definitely not necessary and not call for it. They ended up actually going forth with EFC. The sheriff was a phenomenal. Their whole command staff's great, by the way. Their whole training staff as well over at Dorchester County. Those are the guys you want. Dave and I, Dave was a captain with Grand Rapids Police Department in Michigan. He works now full-time for EFC. Him and I went and spoke with the sheriff and the command staff, and we didn't have to say much. The guys in the training staff we were just there for moral support, really. Like, they were convincing the sheriff that this is why they needed this training. And then we showed the objective proof that Dave had from Grand Rapids, Michigan on use of force data. And I mean, the sheriff was just like, everything looks great. Let's, got to talk to the attorneys and all that kind of stuff. And they ended up moving forward with it for our first 5-year contract, which is great. But again, it's the people who you put in training. And I will say this, like, your sergeant and lieutenant, I've had multiple conversations with them. Even some like the SWAT team leaders and commanders, those guys are squared away. They always show up. They show up not just, I'm here because I was voluntold. Some of them are there on their own time as well. And that's what you want. And that's why I personally think you're seeing the changes, is because you are giving them the tools and you have the right people in the right spots. And I think the kind of the old school mentality is kind of getting pushed out a little bit, and you're starting to see guys who want to be in those training spots and see the change. Right. So again, I think that natural progression of putting the right people in the right position, I think, is a testament to you putting those people in the right positions. Yeah. Because I think it's great. If you're in law enforcement, you already know there's a gap between traditional defensive tactics and what actually happens on the street. And that gap is why we built Effective Fitness Combatives. EFC is a curriculum specifically built for policing. It utilizes the principle, concepts, and certain techniques from jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and striking, integrated with weapons into the environment of policing. It's structured training designed for real resistance, real stress, and real-world application. In 2025 alone, we worked with over 800 agencies and trained more than 3,500 officers. Our instructor cadre brings nearly 400 years of combined law enforcement experience. Now, these are high-level jiu-jitsu practitioners, wrestlers, mixed martial artists, and some are actually subject matter experts vetted at the local and federal levels. Both Level 1 and Level 2 are instructor-level certification courses, and both are post-approved or post-certified in most states. Level 1 establishes the foundational system and teaching structure, while the Level 2 builds on the foundation and moves into reality-based training, integrating simunitions, UTMs, box drills, and vehicle extractions so that instructors can confidently teach under pressure and complexity. We run courses all over the country. Courses are also available for private security and military personnel. We offer custom courses tailored to agencies' needs. We're also in the process of launching a dedicated SWAT combatives course built specifically for tactical teams. To see upcoming courses, check the 2026 calendar by visiting efcombatives.com. Now, when did you first become familiar with EFC? Because I know we've been there a lot.
Yeah, I guess early on, talking with Nemec, he was the training lieutenant there, and him saying, hey, this is what we're doing, and this is what's working. So I wasn't familiar until I got down here, and he was like, hey, we have open mats, and our guys really like it. Guys are going to, they're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu also. I'm a blue belt in BJJ.
Are you?
Yeah. So
right on.
Yeah. So
don't quit. Don't quit. Did you quit?
I'm old. Oh. Yeah. So anyway, but I saw that and I'm like, okay, cool. Good. And I was happy that the program was mature. It was robust.
Yeah.
And it was motivated, for lack of a better word, and that we had good trainers, and that was something that I didn't have to worry about. And that, hey, this is good and this is working, and we have open mats that people are coming to, and that, you know, like, of all the things I needed to worry about, that was one thing I did not need to worry about. And then I think I saw this was after Sherwood got in there, where you were on, you were interviewing him, or he was, and you were in that training room, and then I started following your stuff and seeing you all over the place, you know. And then you use some of our stats, right?
Oh yeah,
because it is a combination, right? It's a combination of like our coaching platform and our developmental, you know, we're developing our people and we're instilling discipline, and which they needed and they wanted, you know, and also coming in with this attitude of, if you work hard, you can move up in this department. We're objective. We're a meritocracy. If you work hard and you're talented, you can go places. So all of that combined, and then that's why I called you, because I'm like, hey, this is not just us. These guys are really highly trained. And people forget, those two officers in that video that went viral, I hired. So I got a year on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe a year plus, maybe. They're young. Very. People forget that.
Very.
I mean, they are young. So put yourself in their shoes when you were a rookie. I don't think I would have reacted that way. You know, I wasn't trained enough to react that way. I can tell you that right now. Can I share a story?
Please,
with you?
yeah, please.
So, and my run with martial arts. So I've been about this. I haven't been this size, right? So, but about the same height, probably about 215, whatever. And so I'm on special units, and I always had strength, right? I used to lift.
Yeah.
I always had strength to, you know, get me through whatever I needed to get through on the street. Not skill, but strength. One day we went to a simple call, loud music call, and it turned into this big melee. And remember, this guy played semi-pro football, wasn't very big, running back, probably 5'6", but built like running back. Built like a
I know what you're about to say.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
Just
a brick house.
Yes.
Yes.
So I remember one of my guys was under him. I was on top of him. And, you know, we're fighting to a standstill. And later on, another officer got on and we cuffed him. We take him to the station, and he said, don't they teach you wrestling? Right? This is what the guy said. Don't they teach you wrestling? And I never wrestled, right? So I didn't know. And I was like, yeah, I never learned wrestling. I learned whatever they taught in the academy, right? Which was bullcrap. And I had done karate when I was a kid, but right around that time, there was a businessman, who was teaching judo to cops for free. Okay. And I immediately joined, and it was funny. We didn't like the top stuff. We all wanted to know. We all wanted to learn the ground fighting. And I love this guy, a guy called Ed Winkler, and he loved being around cops so much that when he retired, he became a deputy sheriff. You know,
No way.
But that started me, and I remember very quickly after being there for maybe a month or two. Like, oh, this guy's neck was totally exposed, or, I could have done this, or I could have done that. And then I started, learning and saying, hey, I need to get better. And then I remember, I promoted to sergeant, and I was on the street, and there was another fight, and there was a guy, a drunk, and I remember doing a judo throw on him, Soto Gary or something like
Yeah.
that. Boom, taking him down, quickly cuffing him. And my people's eyes were huge. But the power of training, the power of that. And then, I studied other stuff from there. But, it took that one incident to open my eyes and say, hey, you have to do something, because that could have got real ugly. And it really scared the daylights out of me. It showed how vulnerable I was. Strength wasn't going to do it by itself. You better start doing something.
Yeah.
And what we're doing and what you're doing now is we're not letting our young officers get scared. We're saying right from the beginning, before they go to the academy, we're saying we're going to give you these tools. We're going to show you this stuff so that you don't have to worry about that. We're going to give you this basis before you even go to the academy, so you can feel very comfortable with this. And we're going to put you in these tough situations so that when you do hit the street, you're going to have a nice, solid base.
Sure.
So that you're protected, you're confident, instead of what happened to me, where I had an oh shit moment and kind of like, whoa, what do I do?
Yeah, it's your situation was very similar to mine. I had an oh shit moment, Riverfront Park, child support warrant by myself, 2 a.m., hair in the back of my neck stood up. I grabbed the guy's wrist, he pulled away, and my brain went, you don't know what to do. Luckily, I was very good at talking, had very good verbal skills. My verbal judo was at least decent. I was able to talk him into handcuffs, right? Mm-hmm. That next day, I went and started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Mm-hmm. I'm a current brown belt, and I mean, it is something I wish I'd started. And again, kudos to your officers, because I've seen probably 2 or 3 academy classes since we started, because we were doing the free Wednesday classes at Follow Jiu-Jitsu. And full transparency, you get a wide variety of individuals that'll come through, right, and kind of apply. Some are more athletic than others. Let's just
100%.
Yeah, let's just kind of call it what it is. Some of them you could tell are just soft, like they're just scared. They're kind of feeble. I lean into that. Mm-hmm. I go, hey, the reality is, like, you're going to get close to people. You're going to get close to people that don't want you to get close to them. You're going to have to control people who don't want to be controlled. You may have to pin weapons, draw your weapon, holster your weapon in a very dynamic situation. You have to understand it. It's also just not about hands-on skills. It could become a tool issue. You got to be proficient with that tool. Have you done any type of performance shooting? Have you done any type of weapon manipulation? How is your weapon manipulation? They're like, you just see their eyes get really big, and it's like, yeah, there's a lot to take in here. There's a lot to understand. But I'll say this, while it might be frustrating for them, because I know sometimes they have to wait 8 months before they even go to the academy, but you guys are training them within those 8 months. I've seen, again, 2 or 3 classes, if not more, come through, and we have a great relationship with the academy. And the academy, kudos to you guys. Flores over there has told me, he said, hey, these North Charleston guys, they're coming in here and they're already knowing what to do. They're already doing what we're showing them. And sometimes they're showing us stuff that we don't even know yet, because they've been training with you guys. So they're getting the more recent curriculum. Mm-hmm. What a testament to you. You are training them. They have a solid foundation before going to the academy. And again, shout out to the guys at the police academy, the SCCJA. Those guys are pushing the boundaries. Flores and Malden and Christina and all those guys, and Alex Major, all those guys are doing a phenomenal job. They're really pushing that grappling based. We've been there 3 times. Mm-hmm. So again, shout out to you, because what happened on July 4th is a testament. Because again, you can't just take a 3-hour class and perform like that.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen.
100%.
It's got to be continuous.
Right.
So, I think that's a phenomenal segue into pushing into other disciplines, like firearms training. I think is really important. Firearms proficiency, performance shooting, right? USPSA, IDPA, the infamous shot timer, right? Mm-hmm. Working on those hard skills for these officers, I think, is so critical to their performance. I know you guys are starting to, with your in-service training, push a lot of box drills and scenario-based training. Are you seeing officers take a little more liking to those scenario-based drills?
Well, we just had somebody freeze on us.
Okay.
So,
and that happens.
Yeah, and lieutenant immediately pulled this individual off the street. They started looking at body cam, AARing it. the phone calls went, and it was like they were kind of nervous. And I was like, nope, you did exactly what you needed to do. I trusted the lieutenant to make that decision. And then went into IA with training, which they work together.
Sure.
And, they're going to, it was pretty egregious, and there's a little history there. They're going to box drill this person as far as the hand-to-hand stuff.
Love that.
Yeah. And we're going to see, do you still want to do this, and have that conversation? And it's not a hazing.
No.
It's, are you using what you're trained? Do you want to do this? Because this time there was a minor injury. What happens next time? Are you going to cause somebody to get hurt or killed? And what I've found in my career, and what I will not do, is take things and sweep things under the rug. If they're ugly and we're at fault, we admit it and we work on it. If they're not ugly and we've done it,
also show it.
Yeah, okay, we're cool.
Right, yeah.
But you can't sweep things under the rug. They will always come back and bite you in the ass.
Yeah, agreed.
So we just run at it head on, deal with it, and deal with it. Okay, not just say, oh, we're doing this box drill, and then that's it, right? That's documented. What did we do? What else do we need to do? Do we need to have them off the street for a while? Do they need to go to training for a while? Or is it obvious that they need to find another profession? So
that's the case.
And having those tough conversations is something that tough but compassionate and empathetic conversations is something that
right.
I bring to the table.
Well, I think one thing to consider too is just like you said, it's also about the community. It's also about the other officers, right? Because that's their backup,
right?
And I've been in situations where it's better for backup just to stay in the car, right? And that's fair, and that's not an isolated issue,
right?
Right? Like we've seen guys have total control. Leroy Jenkins comes in and knocks off the officer having control, and now it becomes a polyester pig pile,
right.
Soup sandwich, and it just made it 10 times worse because then you have that one person who's just, I'm going to see red, and that's going to solve the problem without the control and understanding.
So I think part of that morale stuff you're talking about is that those issues don't get swept under. Now, those
Yes.
issues get identified and they
Solved.
get mitigated, addressed, and I think they like that because we're dealing with stuff. It's not like, oh, that's just this guy and they have a bad habit. No, we're going to deal with that.
Sure.
And I'm huge into dealing with people with their bad habit or quirks. No, we're professionals and we're going to act like professionals. And we have one standard. We're going to deal with one standard.
Chief, and I also want to hit on one thing as well. I always ask this question with just the evolving technology in the world. Cops are getting optics on their firearms, weapon-mounted lights. I know that body cams are now becoming. I know that Axon has done like their body cam has translation capabilities now, report writing capabilities now. How is the agency starting to adapt to enhancing the officer's capability with tools itself? Like obviously the training is the foundation. That's what's gonna create the change. But the tools should help then support the officer's performance. So like, what's your thoughts on the technology piece?
I have some great people in technology, and then again, I have some great people that are in training.
Sure.
So we already started the transition with the scopes, the optics on handguns. So we already started that. Like I inherited that, and so there's a plan, and we're buying little by little.
Sure.
And
it's expensive.
Probably 2028 that will have. The whole department will be transitioned.
Nice.
As far as the technology, we also have a plan. So we're slowly but steadily, going to Axon for most of our stuff. We just did the drone as a first responder demo, and we'll be that's in our budget to get some more drones. And we have the real-time crime center opening up November-ish.
Okay.
It's being built
this
now.
year?
Yeah. So November that'll open up, and we'll put that together and have people hired for that and start that kind of small. It'll be a small, 3 people to start off with, and then we'll expand that. So, and look, we're blessed with the amount of Verkada cameras we have. I mean, people don't like talking to police anymore, and with the amount of technology we have out there, we're blessed because we solve so much stuff with our cameras and LPRs. So, you can't use technology to replace people. Some departments are doing that, right? When they don't have the ability to recruit and retain people, we're looking at that as a force multiplier, and we will continue to kind of build on that and just make ourselves more efficient with the addition of these different technologies. So pretty soon we'll probably be all on an Axon platform,
Yeah. I know Axon's under somewhat of a microscope right now for some political stuff. I'm not truly up to speed on Axon, but I know they. I know that obviously their taser is a tool that when it works is great. When it doesn't, doesn't necessarily help. But there's like a tool reliance issue too in law enforcement. But I'll say this though: the fact that you guys are hammering on the hard skills, like the officer skills, you're going to see a lag. You're going to see, I don't want to say a lag, but you're going to see a lag. I guess you could say lag. You're going to see a lag from when the tool doesn't work to now what's my next option. Instead of the tool doesn't work, and they start to go in that loop, they have to break that loop and go, okay, tool doesn't work, I need to go to something else. And so I think you guys are doing a good job with that.
And I think our taser usage is down. I didn't see the actual numbers.
Oh, really?
But I've seen our taser numbers go down, and I've seen our numbers for people going to hospitals after use of force. And remember, that could be you skinned your knee.
Right.
It could be something very minor that we have to take you to. That has dropped tremendously too. That dropped by 20 points within the first 6 months.
That's great.
So, and all that is us being able to take people down and control them, quickly, effectively, because of what they're learning.
I'd love to have that data on the taser. If you don't mind getting that to me, that'd be awesome just to have, just to see, because you guys have been implementing EFC a little over a year now, basically about the time you started, maybe a little bit earlier or a little bit before. I think that's great. I think I do have one question from a leadership standpoint. You being the chief of police, obviously you probably talk to other chiefs in the country. If you had to give advice to other chiefs that you're seeing out there, you don't have to name a particular one or anything like that, but obviously there is some poor leadership in this country, and it can be seen within the cities, certain cities, right? What do you think the reasoning for that is? Do you think it's just they have their own personal agendas and they're trying to become political and they don't care about the community? You're obviously coming in here and you're like, hey, I came in here, I kind of cleaned house a little bit. Here are the resources, here's the training, we're coming along with technology, but that all starts from the top. Mm-hmm. And I know personally, from the EFC side, we deal with, anywhere between 800 to 1,000 agencies a year, right? So we have a pretty significant sample size. Mm-hmm. We're seeing a lot of agencies start to kind of change into a more progressive, positive direction. Yeah. But some are not.
Right.
And I kind of want to get your opinion on why you think that is.
Well, remember, I was that typical jerk off. Yeah.
So you were the problem.
I was, and egotistical guy, and I changed my life. Right. I went to therapy, which I share with my people. Yeah, I'm huge into that. Yeah. And I have no problem sharing that story.
Thank you for sharing.
I'm writing a book. It's in the book. So that's me, and that's my journey. For me, when I started putting people before myself, my life changed exponentially. I mean, if you talk to my wife, she will tell you, when phone rings out of nowhere and just something happens. Text, hey, do you want to do this? Or, hey, this, you want to speak here? Or this opportunity has opened up, or this has happened.
Sure.
And it's all because I don't think about myself anymore. I think about other people. I get great joy when other people succeed, especially if I'm helping them succeed. So, for instance, Joe Nemec, right?
Yep.
I talked to him a couple of months ago, maybe 6 to 8 months ago, said, hey, man, you're smart, you're sharp. Let's work on your resume. I think you need to write an article on training. He wrote an article, hooked him up with a magazine that I've written for many times, and I helped him. You know, I kind of red-penned the article a little bit, introduced him to the editor, got it in. He just got published like
awesome.
A couple of weeks ago.
What a great guy.
Yeah. And so I was happy.
Sure.
I mean, I was super happy. He was super excited. So we accomplished two things, and we pushed it out on our social media platform, you know, so the community knows that this guy is, you know, professional, super professional, that his words were good enough to be published in a professional magazine.
Yeah.
He's got more confidence. He can put something on a resume saying, hey, look what I've done. You know, people want to read my knowledge on training, and it'll help him out. And then he can also inspire those under him, just like I kind of inspired him.
Yeah.
And there's another guy in there that I've been on. I got to kick his ass a little bit to do the same thing. So it's kind of, that made me happy. These guys going to, you know, Northwestern. We have 2 that have graduated, 2 that are going to school now that should be graduating shortly.
Love that.
You know, I'm super happy about that. I got one guy that's in a chief's process. You know, I can't say where.
Yeah, sure.
I'm happy about that. And that was me. I'm going to be a little egotistical now.
Okay.
That was my influence pushing them to, you know, spread your wings, and talking to him and, you know, giving him advice. So I don't want to lose them, but I want to see them fly. I want to see them get better. That makes me happy. That gives me a lot of joy, because it's not about me. I've had this, if you look at my resume, my career is, I don't know what more I can do, you know, other than make North Charleston the best police department that I can.
Yeah, no, I thank you for sharing that. And Nemec was the first guy I actually came in contact with as it pertains to getting into the agency. And you guys have been nothing but accommodating to me. And, you know, Quick and Sarge and LT and Jesse and everybody there, I ask for something or I have an idea, and they're like, whatever you need. They're very open and accommodating, and they're even proactive. Hey, let's actually plan out the next 6 months of when you can come in and help us train in service, instructor development, whatever the case may be. The fact that they actually care about that stuff, I think, is a testament. And everything you said about helping others and having joy for others. There was a guy, you might know him, his name is Jesus Christ, and he actually wants us to do that.
Yes.
It's, you know, the second commandment he tells us is the most important, is to take care of your neighbor. And so I think there's a reason why he said that, right? So thank you for sharing that. I think that's incredible. I think, and if we lead with that, we're going to see success on all fronts, whether it's the training and the community, the policing in the community. We're going to see it all come together, because that's what law enforcement is. It's the blanket of protection for our great country, right? And I think, let's go back maybe 6, 7, 8 years where that blanket was pulled back just a little bit when they wanted to defund everything. And people saw how cold it was without law enforcement. They stopped responding to calls, and they were like, oh, we don't like this. I have a problem and I can't solve it myself. I'm used to calling 911 and somebody shows up. Yeah. Well, nobody's showing up, or they're showing up hours later, or sometimes even days later. Yeah. Right. And so I think that's why it's incredibly important for us.
But you got to remember that happened in certain parts of the country.
Correct.
But most of the country, that didn't happen.
Correct.
We never, where I came from, that I got more money.
Right.
Yeah, I had a foundation, and I had grants coming in, and I had a foundation, and people were donating money. And my old place, Police Week, you did not have to buy lunch every day. Right. Somebody was donating food. So it just depended what part of the country you were at, and it would. And let me just say, there are some places where it's incredibly hard to be a chief. It's not easy here, but there's some places where, I cringe when and I feel their pain, because I can only imagine the pressure that they're under. And I think I know what you want to say, and I know what you want to do, and I know that you're being held from doing what's right, because of that thumb on you. So but and then other ones you can just see, that ego going through, or their own political agenda, and just like in anything, we have that in all walks of life. Every job, you're going to have people with differing opinions.
Yeah.
But to me, you put your people before you, and life is going to be good.
Yeah, no, again, just to clarify, it's like when I was saying that small blanket of protection, there were certain areas that people were realizing, we don't need the police to fund them, and then they were realizing, no, wait, fund them, please fund them, give them more, because there's actually some agencies that people thought were being defunded because the news was doing news things, and we spoke with this agency. I'm not gonna say the agency, and they were like, everything's so we've actually gotten more money. They were like, but the media is spinning it because we're a big defund the police area, but the police department's actually getting more money because we need better funding for better equipment, better training, more people.
Right.
And obviously the issue with retention is a whole different ballgame.
Right.
But no, Chief, thank you so much for your time. This was a phenomenal interview. I know you're a busy man. I really appreciate it. And I like to end the podcast on, if you have any advice for the world, for your officers, what is the one piece of advice if you had to leave? Take your time. There's no rush. That's a solid question.
Again, I'm a big one with ego. Just work on yourself, self-awareness, be the person that you see in the mirror every day. It's funny, these last 19 months, how many times I've used the word delusional, and not just within the department, just in life. So use self-awareness, look in the mirror, check yourself, use introspection, have those tough conversations with yourself, and use empathy, right? Stop being so judgmental, get into that other person's shoes, see what they're going through, and it'll really kind of change your thinking. And then be honest when you have those conversations. Don't jump around the issue. Get to the point, have that tough conversation. There have been times where I haven't done those things, even recently, where I haven't been super honest with somebody, and it came to bite me in the butt because I was overly sensitive and did not want to hurt their feelings because they were overly sensitive, and it really bit me in the butt. And I'm talking about my former agency. So I learned that lesson, and be the eternal learner, right? You stop learning, you die. So just continue learning, and when you make a mistake, learn from that and grow.
Awesome. Chief, thanks for sharing. And
Thank you.
I'll see you. I might see you Thursday. So
no, I'll be at council.
Oh, you're at council.
Yeah,
okay. Well,
yeah.
Well, I'll be at your agency Thursday. So again, I appreciate everything you're doing, especially for EFC and taking care of us as well. So thanks, Chief. We'll talk soon.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Alrighty. Chief, thank you.
Thanks. That was awesome.
Thank you for spending your time with us today. I don't take that lightly. If something in this episode stuck with you, share it, subscribe, and leave a comment. It generally helps more people find the show. And if you're looking for that next step, EFC and EFT are linked below. Worth checking out. Until next time, stay ready.